Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches! Episode 147. Tonight we're reviewing Unforgiven.
Nope.
Unforgettable.
There you go. Well, this brings up an interesting point. Why was this movie called Unforgettable? Because she's gonna make herself unforgettable to him?
It's a horrible title.
Well, I could understand it if they had made, like, that Nat King Cole song, like,
Unforgettable.
a running motif throughout that. It was their song.
That's what you are. That, right? Like, that's what's playing at the wedding.
At the wedding.
And then she, like, keeps playing it.
And she's playing it, and it's our song.
And, like, the guy's murdered, and it's like, unforgettable.
And then she's like, I'll make myself unforgettable. But then, then that's a through line.
I like that.
But no, that's not what this was.
Wait, you fixed this movie already? We haven't even got into it.
Fixed it!
Well, wait, first things first. Shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $20 off your first month. You can use that $20 to buy your very own Chanel.
I was just thinking, are we going to have Chanel out if it's not Drag Race?
Oh, yeah. Chanel is just like a permanent fixture.
She's part of the family now?
Yeah.
Great. Unforgettable.
I always want to say Charlize Theron.
You said, I hope Charlize does such and such about 3 different times in this movie.
It's really not fair to Charlize Theron. I'm sorry.
The shade just gets darker.
What's her name?
Katherine Heigl.
Katherine Heigl. I don't know why I can't remember it. It's like one of those things that I always just keep thinking Charlize Theron. Anyway, so Katherine Heigl and who else?
Rosario
Dawson.
Who now? Who is it?
Rosario Dawson.
Darcy. And the guy.
Did we look it up?
I realized what I know him from. He's on Grace and Frankie. He's the sister with all the kids'
husband that we never see.
That you never see. Where's Mitch? I don't know. I think he has one of those faces where you're like, you're a handsome man who's like, he's not unattractive.
No, he had good arms. There were a couple scenes where I was like, okay. But why wasn't he shirtless more?
Why didn't he do anything at all to affect any sort of change or purpose? Like, he had no agency.
He did not have any agency. I mean, I guess that makes sense why he was with
Katherine Heigl.
Katherine Heigl's character,
sense.
Yeah.
But then make that a thing. Then, following through into
make it a real character trait, not just you being like.
I feel like you're underwritten.
Yeah.
You're just like, do you have a personality?
Yeah.
You seem passive. Anyway, it's the new Obsessed.
Yes, basically.
It's not as wacky, but it's pretty wacky.
It's pretty wacky.
I had fun watching this movie.
I did too, for the most part. It was a little boring here and there. Basically, whenever he and Rosario Dawson are together.
Anytime Rosario Dawson and the guy were like, my relationship with you, let's try and be happy. I was like, I could care. Give me Katherine Heigl. Where is Katherine Heigl? The whole movie, I was like, where's Katherine Heigl?
Yeah. She was doing so much.
She knew what movie she was in.
Yep, and I loved it. I loved it.
I don't know if anyone else knew.
Could you imagine if Paula Patton, what's her name?
Polly Pocket?
Paula Patton? Paula
Poundstone?
No. From
Paula Patton.
Paula Patton. Could you imagine if she played Rosario Dawson's role? It would be a disaster.
Well, it would have been so much better.
Right?
Because she's like crazy in a different way.
In a different way, and she just would have been like.
And Rosario Dawson to me is always boring. She's just, you're very pretty. She's sort of like an Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
You're very pretty.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not getting a lot else.
Nope.
From this,
Mm-mm.
It was supposed to be Kerry Washington.
Ooh.
And Katherine Heigl.
And
then something happened.
Bummer.
But one of the cool things is the director is Denise The Nobby.
Yeah.
Who I was like, I feel like I know that name. Looked it up. She totally has produced all or most of the Nicholas Sparks movies.
Love it.
And this is
now she's directing.
This is her first. Someone else was supposed to direct, and she was going to produce, and the director dropped out,
and she's like,
I'll do it.
Love it.
I was like, yes, get that.
Yes.
And I could feel it. I could feel that a woman directed this movie.
That is true.
There was choices made that I was like, yep. Yes, you are in this burning evidence caftan. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That burning evidence caftan.
That was a choice.
Oh, it was so good. I was just hoping for it to burn.
Oh my god, so it's this real billowy
cream
caftan.
And I'm like, you shouldn't wear that when you're throwing things into a fireplace.
Fire.
Like a roaring fire.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was going to end with her being on fire. And run out of the house. And that actually would have been great. It would have been much more poignant and tied in because we find out that she had burned down a house earlier in her crazy time.
Exactly. I was waiting for that to come
circle.
and it didn't.
It would have been great.
Yeah. So Rosario Dawson moves from San Francisco. Do you remember Jersey Boys?
Remember that terrible, terrible movie?
It's awful. Anyway, so she moves from San Francisco to Santa Barbara?
Goleta? Ojai? Somewhere
in there.
Where they have Spanish American houses.
Yes.
Can we talk about their house? I liked it.
I couldn't tell.
Well,
it felt dirty.
It definitely felt like lived in.
Yes. But also dusty. It's like, oh, that's one of those old houses with vines everywhere.
Yep,
That you need a maid to come in 3 days a week because it's dusty.
But it had a lot of Spanish tiles, terracotta, stained glass windows.
Yes.
The staircase with the
I
wrought
liked
iron.
the staircase.
It was a lot to look at.
It was definitely giving me some double indemnity murder house.
Absolutely. One of those Spanish houses everyone was so crazy about 10 years ago.
It was one of those California Spanish houses everyone was nuts about 10 or 15 years ago.
And it helped because most of the boring scenes between Handsome Man and Rosario Dawson
were in the house.
So I could be like, look at that tile. It was the best piece of set in their house. The salt and pepper shaker chess set.
That was so weird. I was like, is that a...
Well,
what?
We both went...
At the same time.
Because at first you're like, oh, do they collect these?
Salt and pepper? It was all salt and all pepper.
On one side.
And it was but they weren't lined up like a chessboard. That was what was weird.
But it was
a chessboard.
That was bizarre.
I don't necessarily hate that idea, but I kind of hate that idea.
It was like, oh, I'm playing chess. Gonna salt that tequila shot. It was weird.
It was weird.
So anyway.
They were all real basic salt and pepper shakers, too.
It was all just clear.
Yeah, it was glass. Restaurant clear glass ones. They weren't ornamental in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
That was what was annoying.
Well, anyway. We talked about that for a while.
Yeah. So she moves in with Pretty Boy and his daughter, his very pretty, long-haired daughter, that we see... Damn it, not Charlize.
Were you going to say Charlize?
Yes, we see Katherine meticulously just brushing like a crazy person.
Well, it was very Mommy Dearest.
Yes.
It was very
Mommy Dearest.
Controlling, Christina, we have to do the things the right way. There was an OCD, there was a lot of layers. Yeah. And I really liked it.
I will say this, while it was semi-slow, they really painted a very detailed picture early on.
Of her. I couldn't get a grasp on how long Rosario Dawson and Handsome Guy had been dating.
No clue.
And they seemed to already be engaged, but had not told his daughter or anyone. So it was have they been long distance commuting? I needed to fill that in.
I really would have liked it to have started... they started off with her in the police headquarters or whatever.
That, who cared?
Who cared? But even if they did that, then they jumped to her in this
meeting
office work party.
Right, yes.
And instead I would have liked it to have been him proposing to her in San Francisco.
Something.
And then you're like, oh, how do we get here?
The first real scene that's not a flashback or a flash forward or whatever is her leaving her job at ChapterPad, the #1 online storytelling app, something like that. It was it was basically a freelance self-publishing database.
You gathered a lot from this. My goodness.
Isn't that what it was?
I am impressed.
Isn't that what it was?
I have no idea.
I think that's what it was, because she was always like, oh, I gotta write my chapters, but she was never doing it.
She was never doing it.
Her friend was always like, you haven't turned in your chapters, and she's like, I know. I guess I won't work today. I'm gonna go shopping in town.
But it was a
take
weird
a sexy
thing
day
where
bath.
she was like not working anyway.
It seemed like she was gonna be working remotely.
I guess.
But she did literally
nothing.
not a second of work was done. Not even to plan the wedding. I didn't understand why she wasn't working.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
that's true, she wasn't
now
even
I'm
planning
a
the wedding.
full-time mom, or now I'm full-time planning this wedding, or I'm too busy for this. What was she too busy for? She literally walked around town, took day baths,
made that calendar.
had lunch.
About making lunches and bringing snacks and
wrote
fruit
on a
for-
whiteboard, went to a school assembly.
Yeah, the other thing that was weird that I just realized was that they lived together for 6 months. In the police thing, it's like 6 months earlier.
Right.
Here we are, she's leaving San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, she's moving in. Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, that like went on for a long time.
It wasn't like, oh, it's my first week here, I'm still moving in, I don't have time to write my chapters. It's like, no, I've been here for 6 months. Well, so we find out that handsome man, we were like, what's his job? It's very unclear. Like,
oh yeah.
At first I thought Katherine Heigl was like a business lady.
I was like, oh, clearly she's like a boss bitch. And like she comes driving up in her Porsche Cayenne. She's like, look at me.
Fancy
I
suit.
take care of everything. I'm bloop, bloop, bloop. I am a robot. Like, okay, I get it.
And I was like, oh, great. So what's her job? Oh,
Yes.
she doesn't have a job.
No. So then I was like, oh, and then he drives off in his like brand new BMW. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, he's rich then.
Yeah.
They have this line later on where he's like, I left Merrill Lynch to become a craft brewery owner.
Yes, he makes artisan beer. Yeah, I don't know where the money was coming from. Because they seem to be rolling
In it. And apparently there's just like a
And
lot of
apparently
money in the
no one has a
craft
job.
brewery business.
No, he was like,
I can't pay the lawyer
I can't
yet.
pay my lawyer.
But I got a brand new BMW. That was weird.
But yeah, so they all have this party where they're celebrating and they have the beer and she gives like an awkward speech.
Yep.
And then this cater waiter walks up to her and goes, "Can I get anything for you, ma'am?"
And she goes, oh, what a sweetheart.
Oh,
It's
no.
like, well, that's literally
I'm
his
good.
job.
And I was like, oh, can I get anything for you? And then it like dead cuts to them fucking in the car. She's like fucking this cater
She
waiter.
is like full on. We saw her ride a horse earlier, and she is doing the same canter on this guy in the passenger seat of this
It was so
Porsche.
aggressive at
She's
some
like,
point.
like it's like, whoa, it was like real Rocky. It was like,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
which,
no, she was riding him.
Yes.
In the literal sense of the word. It was so rough that at some point he kind of does this.
I thought he was dead.
And I thought she sexted him to death.
Yeah.
I was legitimately like, oh God, did he die? For real? And then he was like, wow, anyway. And she was
And
like,
then
get
she's
out! Go stand in the rain!
Yeah, that's
Cater
right.
waiter!
Right. Oh gosh.
I kind of wanted her to win. I was like rooting for Katherine.
I really was until like a little later on.
I mean, sure, she does go full-blown homicidal, but...
Until she went full-blown homicidal, I was like, nah, you're cool.
So we haven't talked about her crazy mom at all.
Oh my god, I loved her crazy mom.
It was like, oh, this is a pattern.
Yeah.
It was like, and she's passing it on to her daughter,
Yep.
and it will just continue. I wish they had driven that home more.
A
by
little
the
bit.
end, you
Yeah.
know? It was
Well,
like,
oh my god.
well, we'll talk about it.
Should we like spoiler alert?
No, you know what happens. It's not a shock. You could listen to the entire review and be like, oh, I still want to watch that.
Sure.
There's no surprises.
Yeah. Well, so she starts researching Rosario,
Yes.
and she like steals her phone,
Mm-hmm.
and then finds out that there's like this restraining order. Oh my god, remember that whole plot line?
Oh God, Rosario Dawson has like a abusive ex-boyfriend.
You're getting married to this guy and you're not going to tell him, you haven't
Well,
told him
yes.
that you had an abusive ex.
The biggest problem with this movie is you're not rooting for Rosario, and you're not rooting for them as a couple.
Right.
You are just like Katherine Heigl, get your life in these white suits. And they are like soups boring and don't seem to be compatible and don't seem to have really like gotten on the same page with where they're at.
Their communication is not very strong.
It's bad, but then Katherine Heigl starts catfishing her ex-abusive boyfriend on Facebook.
Yes.
I wanted more of that.
Oh my god, where she literally was like sexting Rosario Dawson's ex and like getting off.
Well, so
she's just like, I'm gonna pour myself a big glass of wine.
She has her catfishing desk set up with a big glass of red wine and just is like, yes.
And like
my
a vape?
silk robe. Oh my god, she vapes at some point? That was great. But so she basically, we didn't talk about one of the best parts of the movie. So they meet up and Katherine Heigl's like, do you want to have lunch?
Oh my god, yes.
And we're thinking, they're gonna go get like salads at some fancy artisan. They're at like a real grungy, dirty, dark Mexican restaurant.
Like dark.
Like one of those ones in Santa Barbara where it's like filled, every space is filled with color and wood and dark wood and all that stuff. Yep. And we thought they were going to order lunch.
It was a liquid lunch.
They had
just margaritas.
A chip. They split a chip and then had margaritas. That was another great choice that was made.
Right.
They start to bond a little bit or whatever, and then Katherine Heigl starts to be like, oh my god, handsome guy is just so insatiable in the sack. We used to do in public places, here and there. I mean, it's exhausting. You know, right? You know how it is.
Yeah, and Rosario Dawson's like, what? We've only fallen asleep all the time.
All we ever do is fall asleep in bed. There was a lot of scenes of them in bed.
Yep.
Just sleeping. But she basically goads Rosario Dawson into being really insecure.
Right, but then...
Oh my god, this is the best scene.
This was absolutely the best scene.
So Rosario Dawson and the handsome guy are at this like work function and she decides...
Work dinner for him. It's him and his investors. And he's like, excuse me, I'm gonna go to the restroom. And then she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
She jumps him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She goes down on him, he goes down on her, and then they fuck, and then it's intercut with Katherine Heigl sexting with her ex, diddling herself, just like, yes!
It was great.
That was the best scene in the whole movie.
It was by far sexier and maybe kinkier than 50 Shades Darker.
150%.
I honestly wanted Katherine Heigl to end up with Rosario Dawson's abusive
ex-husband. Yeah.
Because she would have just not had any of it.
Yeah.
She would have been like, you're going to try and come for me? I don't think so, bitch. Sit down and I'm going to ride you. Maybe I'm going to peg you. We'll see.
Wait a minute. That would have been great. That would have been so good. I like the idea of them sort of like, remember that movie Heartbreakers where it's like, you haven't seen Heartbreakers?
Maybe.
With Sigourney Weaver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, she's conning him and they're conning together and then her and Ray Liotta are like, we both like conning people, let's do this together. Like, if they were both like, let's just be crazy and kinky together.
I love it.
I would have been into that.
Yes.
They're like on a beach in Europe, just like, and she's like, kiss my feet. You know, like, it would have been great.
And then they're just like, we're unforgettable. Boom.
Unforgettable. It's like a real, like, long up tracking shot with like a drone of the beach.
Yes, exactly. Oh my god, I love it.
And she's wearing the white sun hat!
Yes! So, for no reason at all, that ever plays any role or part at all, the boss friend, when Rosario Dawson is leaving, is like, I gave you a gift. And she's like, it better be a re-gift. And she's like, it was. And she's like, here's this giant white sun hat. And she's like, it has makeup on it. It was a re-gift.
It's weird.
It was weird.
But then it immediately falls off the top of her, like her whole suitcase falls off the top of her car. She doesn't notice, never goes back. It shows the sun hat fall. There was nothing.
Never mentioned again.
Not even, hey, what happened to that suitcase? Not even a moment.
Nothing.
Like, wouldn't that have made sense if it was like, oh shit, my ID was in there, and then she's like having legal trouble with the restraining order. Something.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you put your ID in the one suitcase that was on the roof? But, you know, like, decisions, choices. So at one point, her mom comes over, and we see that her mom is all controlling and crazy, and they're having, like, a tea party with the daughter and everything.
It's, like, literally the whitest thing you could ever imagine. Also, what was, like, the weird thing of, like, Alouette?
Well, I think what the point was it was just like, oh, she's sort of this, like, pretentious cosmopolitan lady in this small town teaching her daughter French.
Right.
I think that was the point. But had it been more like she starts singing it evilly, like as she's like Rosario Dawson's hiding and she's like, you know, like something weird. So Katherine Heigl has gone full-blown crazy.
Like 100%.
Hits her husband over the head with a fireplace poker.
Ex-husband.
Her ex-husband. He's like bleeding out on the floor.
Oh god, that's right. Oh yeah.
And Rosario Dawson comes in, finds him passed out, like, almost dead on the floor.
Yep.
Still does not call the police. Decided to go inside, grab the little girl, put her in the car. I mean, she went for the daughter first.
Smart.
She proved herself as a mother. And then proceeds to not call the police. And then not call the police. And then not call the police.
And then get caught by Katherine Heigl.
Mm-hmm.
And then try and call the police.
Try and call the police. Fail to call the police.
Because Katherine Heigl just rips the phone out of the wall.
Meanwhile, the whole big bitch-slapping, hair-pulling fight scene is happening while Katherine Heigl is in her fabulous murdering caftan, which is fabulous.
I think
It's very similar to the burning evidence caftan. It is the same.
I was going to say, it's the same caftan.
It's the same caftan. So anyway, they're fighting. Everything's being crazy.
I was really waiting for her to pull her perfect hair out.
Just rip it out.
Or something, you know, it's like, because there was so many things were like made about her hair that it would have been just like, really just like...
Well, that's why it would have been great if she had been caught on fire.
Sure.
My hair! But so she has a moment, Katherine Heigl has a scratch down her face, and she finds this huge Bowie knife. Yeah. Just gigantic knife. And then she sees herself in the mirror and is like, oh my God, my beautiful face. But then Rosario Dawson gets the knife from her, and then Katherine Heigl
just walks, like...
commits seppuku. Just like, okay, you will now stab me in the stomach. Like, she kills herself via, it's like... Rosario Dawson.
It was a lot.
So weird.
It was so weird. Also, why was Rosario Dawson just like holding it like this? Like, why would...
She could have just been like, oh.
She could have like moved, like you could have moved.
She was really bad at surviving.
She was just really awful. I did not like her character.
No. But, so I thought, oh, it's like one last fuck you. She's gonna like frame her for Katherine Heigl, for her own murder. Because she like makes her stab her or whatever. And then nothing really happened. I kind of would have preferred that ending. And then it's even better. He's like dies or is in a coma.
He's like in a coma.
She's in jail.
And then the grandmother just starts combing her hair.
Come here, darling. We must get all the tangles out of your hair.
Alouette.
I mean, that would have been an ending.
Yes.
It ends, it's like, oh, you're fine. Okay, the police came out. Everything's great. They move back to San Francisco, and they're just like having a lovely life without Katherine Heigl. The little girl looks feral. Her hair.
Little girl's hair.
She looks like she's been living in the woods.
Oh, Katherine Heigl's character was rolling in her grave. Just like...
She's like, bitch, I told you to watch out for her after I committed seppuku, damn it.
I would say totally watch this movie.
It's totally watchable. It's not as next level crazy as Obsessed, but it is, like, it has stuff in it that's like, oh, yes to this.
It was like fun and silly and it looked good and it was...
Short.
Yep. I wasn't mad at it.
No. Drink some wine, watch on Netflix.
Absolutely. It's a fun night right there.